solution.
Yeah, this is always another best solution.
All right, so listeners, a very beautiful Monday afternoon. We are here again on the program Journey to OSADEBE Avenue. Remember, last week we dwelt on a lot of issues, of course. The journey so far, how prepared are we for the elections? Of course, we give a backgrounding of how the governors from the Midwest region down to Bendel and of course down to Edo State all began. I'm not here alone this beautiful Monday afternoon. I got my colleague Timothy Osenige. Timothy, say good afternoon to you.
Yes, sir. Patrick in Abule. Sorry, Chris in Abule. Sorry. I can't wait for this journey to be brought to an end. Comes the 21st day in the month of September. I think for me, the best journey or the ever finest journey that could ever happen to any Edo light should be this journey to the OSADEBE Avenue. But how prepared are we, in taking the right decision? Because the decision we take now, rightly or wrongly, has a whole lot of resultant effect, comes on that date. So
Sure.
For me, it's the more in fact, I've suspended every other journey.
All right.
Okay.
Quickly, before we go, I think I'll give a recap of what we did last week. Just a recap of some little of them. But in the house with us, it is beautiful Monday afternoon. We've got a public affairs analyst, of course, a philanthropist, and of course, if you give him the mic, he will take the lens and everything will be over. I got Mr. Isikweme MON in the house. Should I add MON to it?
If you do, I will take it.
Okay. Good afternoon. Say good afternoon to your people.
Good afternoon, Chris. Good afternoon, my brother. And good afternoon to all the listeners and the people of Edo State.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. So we will be talking extensively, extemporarily on the journey to OSADEBE Avenue. Now, like I said last week, the list of administrators and governors of Bendel, Nigeria, Midwest region was created in June 1963 from Benin and Delta State Province. The status of the region was changed to a state on the 27th of May 1967, and the state was renamed Bendel the 17th of March 1976. The Bendel state was divided into Delta State and Edo State on the 27th of August 1991. So I just wanted to know where it all began. Now, Jarrington Marere was governor from the Midwest state in January 1966, from February 64 to 66. And of course, he left office. He was actually a civilian. Most of us will not meet him. And of course, we got Lieutenant Colonel David Ejo. He was governor from January 1966 to August 67. He was a military officer. Then we got Major Albert Okonkwo, an administrator, from 17th August 67. Of course, that was the Biafran sectionist when the war actually broke in then. Then Brigadier General Samuel Ogbemudia, of course, is late now. Of course, and was the governor September 21, 1967. He was a military administrator. It all went down to Colonel George Agbazika Ini, and later we now metamorphose from Midwest to Bendel State. The first governor from Bendel State was Abdullahi, Commodore Abdullahi, Hussein Abdullahi. And most of us don't know that.
I know him.
Okay, you know him? Okay. We'll talk about since you talk about his administration. Yeah, then from Abdullahi we had Abubakar Waziri from 78 to 79 was military administrator. And of course we have Professor Ambrose Folonsho Ali. That was October 1979. And he was from the UPN. Then I want us to note that. Then Dr. Samuel Obemudia took over again from October 83 to December 83, just too short time, and he was from the NPN.
Some of his project are still
standing. At that time. Then we got Brigadier Jeremiah T. Oseni, and that was January. That was when the military coup came in. That was 1984 from January He was a military administrator. We have Colonel John Mark Inyenga. I know that one very well. The time was tough that time. We got Colonel Tunde Ogbeha, 87, was a military administrator, and we got Colonel Kumo Yeri. That was 1999. He was still a military administrator. I'm up to date before we entered into democracy. That was 1999. That you can count the list. So you talked about the one you made. How was the governance then in Edo State? Bendia State, yes, it's right.
I think I would like to start. Let me begin from the beginning.
Yeah.
I think it is very germane to mention the fact that the Midwest region is the only subnational in Nigeria that was created through a democratic process. Because there was an agitation that the Western region wasn't quite treating this part of the country very well.
Okay.
This part of the region felt they were being marginalized.
Okay.
Because in the Western region, you have Cocoa House. It was the tallest skyscraper at that time in Nigeria.
Okay.
And on it, it was named Cocoa House. But the products of what later became the Midwest region were rubber and oil palm. Yet there was no oil palm house. There was no rubber house. That will tell you a little bit of a story. And there were roads that were tarred, as we were told, as we read.
Yeah.
Now you had signboards written, "This road has been tarred with the proceeds from cocoa."
And then we have administrators.
And none.
Okay.
No. That time it was a democracy. I'm talking of the First Republic.
Okay, First Republic. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It was that
So
agitation.
that means the citizens' resources were used as it were.
Yes.
Okay.
And the Midwest region, what became the Midwest region, then agitated that they were minorities in the Western region, that they needed a region of their own. Of course, the region in power in the Western region, which was Action Group, opposed it for obvious reasons. They wouldn't want their area to be divided.
Okay. Action Group.
Action Group led by Chief Obafemi Awolowo.
Okay.
But the Northern People's Congress, as we read in the books, supported it because by splitting an area of the Western region, they will be benefiting from it because it means you are reducing the power of Action Group. And NCNC was
From the East.
was stronger
Okay.
in the Midwest, and they supported
Was stronger in the Midwest or from the eastern part?
from the eastern part, but they were stronger in support of the creation of Midwest out of Western region.
Okay.
And so when it was created, our people then moved down from Ibadan, which was our capital, regional capital, to Benin City. And Benin City became the capital of the Midwest.
Midwest.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and of course, immediately after we had the Civil War, we had the shining star of the military administrators. They were called military governors then.
Yeah.
Was the one and only Samuel Ogbemundia, who incidentally became governor twice in what then became Bendia State, which was
Not the platform of the
actually the original Midwest.
Okay.
So he stood out because even today, you still have his projects dotting the whole state and Delta State, because the two were one at that time. And that was the time what we call farm settlements were established. Most of the oil palm plantations were established. And he established Midwest Institute that eventually became known as University of Benin. And so if you take the era of General Ogbemundia, you will see that what he did is actually worth emulating. And I think if we go on to discuss the current crop of contestants, you're likely to see one that could reproduce the Ogbemudia era.
Okay. Yeah. Now my question is this: as at that time, the proceed, like you said, was not as large, as enormous as what we get here, or call the revenue to each state or each region, as it were. Timothy, you can again a witness.
Yes.
But all these were utilized properly. You named several institutions that this then it was Bender State, Edo Delta, and cut across development all through. Why our leaders of today can't stand tall in this ladder?
Yeah, I think the key thing to remember is that when Nigeria got independence, we started with what is called parliamentary democracy. What it meant is that for you to become prime minister, you have to be elected first as a member of parliament. And if your party had the largest number of members, then the leader chosen among those parliamentarians become the leader of government business. And therefore, it was a different type of system that we were running at that time.
Okay.
And at that time too, we had not started relying on oil. When I say oil, I mean petroleum.
Yeah.
So the individual regions collected revenue from their own resources, just like I mentioned.
From their own
cocoa,
resources, yeah.
Yeah, cocoa.
So the Northerners, how did they collect their own resources?
Oh, the North was very valuable as well. The North relied on granite, all those granite pyramids that we talk about.
Okay.
They were from the North. So they had cotton, they had granite, they had seed, the akame, and go on and on. And what they collected these revenues and then paid a proportion to the federal government. Therefore, at that time, in that parliamentary democracy, the federal government was the center, what we now call the center, was weaker than the regions. And that is why somebody like Ahmadu Bello sent Tafawa Balewa to the center to go and become the prime minister, while he remained premier of the northern region. I mean, can you imagine somebody now who is that powerful and popular telling a younger member of his party to go and become president while he remains a state governor? It's not going to happen. So what has happened is the change is that when we changed over to presidential democracy, which we copied from the United States, the center became so powerful. The center is the one that disburses revenues to the states. So the oil that is found in your backyard is taken by the federal government, and they determine which proportion can go back to you.
Okay.
And therefore, people saw stealing from the federal government, for instance, as not theft, but rather you are trying to get your portion.
So I have two questions for you, sir.
Yes.
First would be, some of the projects our late Brigadier Samuel Ogbemudia built as he standing tall tomorrow.
Yeah.
This morning I had a program. Someone was saying, only one man that has done well as late Ogbemudia did is Governor Obaseki. That's the first question. Why have we not had several Ogbemudias and Godwin Onorerase Obaseki? That one is first.
Okay.
Secondly, in the journey now, after Godwin Obaseki winds off on the 11th day in November 2024. So among the other 17 contenders, where can we still find other Alis, Ogbemudias, and Obaseki? In your own opinion, sir?
Yeah. Thanks for that very good question. I will attempt it this way. I didn't listen to the program where that was said, but I will give you my candid view, my considered view on that issue.
Okay.
As I said, Ogbemudia did excellently well. It was then
And the first term or the second term?
in the first term, because in the second tenure, he really didn't have much time. Because the time was short, they were overthrown.
Yeah.
And the only thing I clearly remember he did in the his second incarnation was reviving Midwest Line, which was the original project that was there in the Midwest. He revived it, and got more vehicles, and then they started to ply all these roads again. However, because the time was short, we really don't remember much of what he did in the second tenure.
Okay.
However, when you say the only person who has actually done as well as Bermuda in this era, I will start by saying Professor Ambrose Ali of blessed memory also stands extremely tall. Those who are not mature enough will not know that secondary schools in this state were
Free of charge.
almost like 1/5 of what the number were when before Rosali came on seat. And then he is the one that came out with the policy that no Edo State, no Bender State child should go to school in a distance that is longer than 5 kilometers.
Okay.
So he established new schools
Okay.
all across the state. And Bender State became the #1 education state in the country.
Okay.
And if you realize the fact that everything you do in the future depends on the education you give today,
Yeah.
you will actually give it to Professor Ambrose Ali. He did extremely well.
Okay.
Then you now come to the Obaseki era.
Okay.
I hear people say Obaseki hasn't done anything. Well, I'm not too surprised because there are some people who have eyes but cannot see. So it may well be they can't see. But there is a musician a country music, man that sings, and in one of his songs, it says, "No one is blinder than he who just won't see." Than he who just won't see.
Okay.
In other words, you decide not to see.
Yeah.
And therefore, you are blinder than anybody else.
Okay.
So, if you take Obaseki, the only thing he doesn't do is make noise about his achievements. However, those achievements speak for him. I recall there was a governor in this state that said he wasn't tiring any road in GRA because the GRA people don't go out to vote on election day. And in our GRA, you couldn't drive. Was it at this one road? Was it in Hama? Was it? I can go on and on. But today, if you go to the GRA, virtually every street has been tarred. Some have even resurfaced a second time. And if you go to School of Nursing, for example, I just want to mention a few.
Yeah.
That School of Nursing that has been rebuilt, what was there was a carcass of itself. He has rebuilt it, and he has, if you go to that school today, that school is better, that campus is better than some universities in this country. And the quality of education, the equipment, the faculty. So those children who are getting admission into that school, they are looking for a job in Nigeria, and they are also capable of looking beyond Nigeria. Because nursing is one of the highest selling job area currently. So the governor knows this. And so he has set up that school. That school will supply nurses to other parts of Nigeria, as well as supply nurses to Europe and America. So if you leave that one and go to things like what he has done to the Nigerian Observer, I write frequently on Nigerian Observer on the polity page. Observer was a dead environment on Airport Road.
Completely moribund.
Now, look at what he has done. He has completely removed all those old structures and rebuilt it. The printing press there is probably the best in the whole of the South right now. And it's being run on commercial basis. Therefore, if Observer wants to print their newspapers, they go there and pay. And that also means that anybody can go there and print. Therefore, revenue for it will not need to come as subvention from government. It will be self-sustaining. And because it's being run on commercial basis, there are those who thought because they are politicians, they could have as well just nominated their son to be general manager of the place. Because that didn't happen, they will close their eyes and say they didn't see what has been done there.
Okay.
To the wife,
Right.
the wife who...
let me pause you there.
I'm not the contender.
Yeah,
It was actually two questions for you.
let me pause you there. Now, we have
among the current ones.
Yeah, we have 17 contestants
Yes.
joining to that Osadebe Avenue.
Yes.
So far, so good. It's a build-up to the election. Now, what do you think Edo people should expect? One, security-wise. Two, and by way of education, as you said. And three, we'll come to that. Very quickly, let me take you on that. The man that you think can occupy that position
Put the car fits
and make sure that, okay, all this XYZ that we have just enumerated, how will it be for Edo people?
Okay, thank you very much, Chris. I think that goes into the second question you
Yes,
asked.
it's the same question.
And
Yeah.
so,
I'm trying to pause you from where you were joining from.
Johnny,
Because you can send that one to tomorrow.
Exactly. Now, if you look at the candidates, the field is full. You mentioned 17, and
there's one female in there.
and without trying to underrate the ambition of a lot of them, I would rather talk about the top three.
Okay.
Not because the other ones are not important. They are all important in their own right. They are all children of Edo State. And they have a right to aspire to be anything, even to the president of Nigeria.
Mhm.
However, when we are looking at what the outcome of the election is likely to be, we have to focus on the first three. And the first three, like we had in the presidential election that took place last year, people remember Obi, they remember Atiku, they remember Jagaban. Today, they ask you about the rest, you will scratch your head.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to focus on three.
Okay.
Now, in no particular order, we have Olumide Apata,
Yeah.
brilliant lawyer, a proud son of Edo State, who the youth also see as a very nice guy, Oludi, our man. He did well as NBA president. And I think that he's a very good candidate. However, when we talk of running a state, there are certain factors you need to put into consideration.
Okay.
Running a state is different from running an association.
Okay.
And you will need to have managed an organization for profit or not for non-profit, and demonstrated capacity and capability, and showed results that you can actually manage a diverse public as the Edo people. I am not too sure, with due respect, I am not too sure Olu has prepared to that level. I know him well. He has spoken with me. I have spoken with him. But I think that at this time, he still needs a little bit more work to brush up and prepare for such leadership position as required to lead a state as brilliant, as diverse as Edo State. And some people argue that he has the obedience behind him. As I speak with you, I am an obedient. I held a position in obedience in Lagos. I was the director of protocol in the Obi support group. I was on top of a truck at Ring Road when we did that massive rally.
Okay.
And therefore I know a thing or two about the obedience. The obedience are people who are independently minded and are looking for the best for Nigeria and for Edo State. So they are not looking at any other quality other than capacity, demonstrated competence. They are looking at integrity. Can we trust what you say? They are looking at track record. What have you done before? So even Obi himself had said the obedience are independently minded and they will always make their choice based on those principles.
Mhm.
And therefore, I can tell you straight away that the obedience are not thinking in one they don't think in one direction. Nobody tells them what to do, which our governor basically recognized earlier. Among all the governors, he was the only one that warned that the obedience are going to make an impact, and if we are not careful, they will retire us as politicians. And it nearly happened.
Yeah, in the last election.
That's what made Labour win in Edo State.
Yeah.
in the presidential election.
Yeah.
That's what made them in the country.
Yeah.
Today, it's still arguable who won that election. So, the obedience are like that. They are self-funding. They don't go begging for money with which to do what they want to do. Therefore, as we speak, I can predict that Olu is going to take a very comfortable third position.
That's from your opinion now.
From my opinion.
From his assessment.
I could be wrong, I'm not God.
I know.
But I'm talking of my own analysis.
So let
as
me
a
quickly
public
go to
appellant.
visit
No,
the
I-
other.
No, I haven't
It's
finished.
going. It's not finished.
I'm going
Okay.
to the next candidate. My brother. When I say my brother, I'm from Edo Central.
Okay.
And when I say my brother, Olu is my brother too. We all came from Benin.
Yeah.
Monday is the next candidate. Minister of the APC coloration. Of recent, you have seen him speak on social media. You have seen some of the comments he has made. I'm not here to debate that. But when I mention track record and capacity and competence, you have to look at the job somebody has done before. I've asked a few people, but I'm here to see someone to actually tell me the sort of job, the organization that he has worked in. There may be, but I don't know for now.
For now, okay.
And he is in the Senate, and in the Senate, maybe I don't watch television all the time, but I haven't really seen him speak on critical national issues or issues that affect Edo State.
Okay.
I haven't seen
Maybe
that.
I've not seen.
Maybe I have not
Maybe.
seen. Maybe I will see later.
Yeah, sure.
And when you also talk about education quality, Edo people are very particular about education. I think people are looking at that. If you recall, there was a time they said Obaseki didn't attend university
Yeah.
until the registrar of University of Ibadan came out to say yes, he was our student and we are proud of him.
Yeah.
Even some people who didn't know the difference between O level and A level were saying he had only 3 credits. Whereas they didn't even know that to enter a Nigerian university at you have to do, if you do A level
Yeah.
and you are entering through direct entry, will you only do 3 papers?
Yeah.
The subjects relevant to the course you are going to study.
Yeah.
So if in that year you talked about certificates, there is nothing that prevents certificates from being discussed in the coming campaign.
Okay.
So maybe that time we will get more facts. However, there was a debate about somebody claiming he was repairing the Ekoma road, and on social media, the local government chairman there came out and said this is not true. That road is the repairs is based on what the governor of the state discussed with Umahi and his engagement with companies who have business in Edo State. BOA. BOA is the one doing that repair.
Okay.
And then those who were already claiming they were doing it, they have been silent since then.
Okay.
I am not accusing anybody, but I think this campaign should be based on facts and facts only.
And issues.
Yeah,
So
the last
I
one.
think that Monday is going to come second.
Okay.
Our brother, he will come second.
Okay.
So if you then go, who is left is Aswe Igodalo.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I want to start to reel out his chairmanship of boards, the kind of businesses he has run, I mean, to take the whole program.
Yeah,
I will only just mention that for somebody to have been chosen to lead the board of Nigerian breweries, and that board membership is chosen not by Nigerians, but the leadership of that company abroad. There must be something they saw, because they will check your background. They will use Interpol to check you up.
Now,
what have you done?
Now, that board you're talking about, I heard recently, we read from papers that somehow, somewhere,
Yes.
they went to bankruptcy or something.
Okay, let me come to that.
Yeah.
Again,
1 minute, so I can open the phone lines.
okay, sincerely,
Mm.
you cannot blame people for ignorance. It's like a disease. When it affects you,
Okay.
you need to find a way to cure it.
Okay.
Anybody who says that is actually ignorant,
Okay.
with due respect.
With due respect.
What happened is, if you check the reports of all the A group companies in this country,
Yeah.
Nestle, Guinness, where I worked for 19 years, Nigerian breweries, GSK, who was the biggest pharmaceutical manufacturer in Nigeria, all of them, as a result of this new change in policy where the naira was floated, all of them came from where they were targeting a certain profit and they now entered a loss because of exposure to dollar currency.
Okay.
So their profit changed to loss. Okay, if it was elsewhere that led to that loss in Nigerian breweries, was he also the board chairman of Guinness?
Okay.
Guinness had a 17 billion loss because of that government policy.
Okay, because the naira was floated.
Yes.
So what was in naira and was now in dollars, that was not different.
Yeah, because if you were owing somebody the equivalent of 500 naira, that you were owing the person $1, suddenly by that change in policy, when the naira was now approaching 2,000 naira, was at the dollar was approaching 2,000 naira. It means the 500 naira you were owing before has become what? 2,000 naira. How will you make profit?
Yeah.
So that was what happened. In fact,
okay, that was what happened that time.
no, but in fact, do you know that GSK, the biggest pharmaceutical company, left Nigeria? Last 2 weeks, they were selling their cars, all their properties have been sold because they said they just can't continue. But Nigeria Brewery is still there.
Okay, all right.
And yesterday I saw you drinking their product.
Yeah, it was my birthday.
So-
we're celebrating.
Now,
All right.
you have been just openly.
All right, we got about 10 minutes to end the show, but then
Okay.
it's an open mic. We practice true democracy here, and it's not a selfish game. Mr. Austin Sikweme actually has dissected a lot of things, and we open the phone lines for you to contribute. 09044362225. That's the number.
The people ought to also be civil in their thoughts and their submissions. I think that's the
That's the program is the journey to Osadebe Avenue. 09044362225. We got a call already. Hello. Good evening to you.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm fine. What's your name, sir?
It's Max Farmer that I'm calling from the Guber community this afternoon.
All right, Maxwell. How you doing? Quickly, straight to your
I'm
point.
fine, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
You see, the thing is this. I'm not too comfortable when people compare capacity and His Excellency, His Excellency, the Governor of the State, and Adam Saleo Shomole, because Adam Shomole is somebody who wants to lay foundation in a state when it comes to politics, and capacity has built on, and we have seen the dividends of democracy, and we have seen changes, and we have seen it, and it is clear and it's obvious. So I'm not a politician, so I would not feel like to compare them. At the same time, I think all the contestants, different political parties, one has never come and told to sell himself or herself to a people to understand the reason why he's vying for that position, because this time around, I don't think we have, at least these two people have made us proud. And we want somebody who will bring a different change entirely, because we are yearning to see the dividends in full force. So we want somebody who will come and talk to the people and the people who understand, because the people are people who have understand politics. One is that if you are coming to tell the people who they should go to yourself, who should do as yourself, we would like to hear things that we have not heard before from other politicians. We want a change, we want a different change.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Good time.
you and God bless you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, you're talking about their manifestos now.
Yes.
I think that's where you're going to.
Yes.
Okay, quickly.
Thank you very much, Maxwell. That was a very good contribution, and you were polite, and you talk like somebody who loves the state.
Yeah.
You referred to Adam Soshomole, our respected former governor, former APC chairman, former NLC chairman. He did well as a governor. Nobody can take that away from him. And the projects that he had in the state, they are still there for everyone to see.
Yeah, let me
So
pause you there.
nobody mentioned that he didn't do well
Thank
at
you.
all. I never said that. I never even mentioned his name.
Yeah, so
No,
let's take this. Hello. Hello. You're on the line. You're on now. Okay, can't take that take off time. Yeah, you're trying to correct some allusions from.
Yes.
Maxwell.
I just said to Maxwell that nobody can say Oshomole didn't do well. In fact, there is no governor that didn't do well.
Yeah.
I can tell you all those I knew and saw. In fact, the one that I will rate the least was a governor called Colonel Onuka.
Onuka. Okay.
Onuka.
Yeah. Hello.
And I can tell you why I consider.
Yeah. Good evening. How you doing? Good evening. Your name, sir?
My name is Mr. Alba from Eastern Center, right now in Benin.
Okay. All right, sir. Quickly, let's get your points.
Yeah.
Mr.
The
Alba.
man who is speaking there just now, I don't know his name.
Yeah.
I want to praise him.
Okay.
Who mentioned Abu Salim?
Okay.
May the Almighty God continue to bless him and remember him for good things that he's doing.
Okay.
This morning, I heard when some people were saying, Bermuda was our father, but he has gone. The present governor is doing well. You see, it is good to remember people who have done things that is good before they left. We know we are already campaigning now. You can campaign in the market. You can campaign in the church. You can campaign when you enter the vehicle. It is good for we to have allowed people who are contesting for a position to tell us what they are going to do for us. Not for people to be campaigning for them.
Okay.
I don't know if I am right. People who are campaigning to become governor, let them campaign and tell us what they are going to do. Not the one that people will be saying, I'm not an Ishaman.
Okay. Okay,
I'm
sir.
not a Guinea man.
Nobody is campaigning for anyone. We're just raising the issues.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Alba, let me clear the air here. Nobody, I repeat, nobody is campaigning for anybody. What we're doing here is a program, Journey to Osadebe Avenue. So we are extracting past leaders, past governors, the antecedents, what they've done so far, and of course, Mr. Isikome, an analyst, of course, has joined the voice to extract a lot of these things. Who did well, who didn't do well, and of course, who, by his own opinion, think actually can
got the capacity,
get the
ability,
capacity to do this. So that's what
efficiency,
we're
and all
doing.
that.
So we're trying to learn. We're trying
Yeah.
to learn.
Yes. I was saying that Onuka, for instance, Colonel Onuka, the only thing we remember him for is that he is the one that put 2 gates on the roads that lead to Government House. From
Onuka.
Gulf side.
Yeah, from the Gulf side. Okay, and the rest, yeah.
That's the only main project he did. You know.
Okay,
So
how about-
we remember all those who have done well.
How about Iam? Adabadamo Iam.
Iam was okay, but he ran into problems.
1996.
He ran into problems because he stepped on toes he shouldn't step on.
Okay, now, Osadebe Avenue
Yes.
is one place that we all we aspire to be. And of course, you can contest to be a governor someday, sometime. Timothy can be a governor anytime. Yeah, but then the fact is, who and what are the criteria that you think as an Edo man, true Edo man, will want to occupy that position?
Okay, I'll gladly handle that. If we love Edo State, because there are some people that love their pocket more than they love the state.
Okay.
If you ask them this question, the answer will be different.
Yeah.
And if you look at the current hoopla in the marketplace, it's about people whose voices are louder than that of the majority, clearly saying because they were not patronized, they were not getting the state's resources through the back door the way they were getting before, therefore the governor on seat hasn't done well. We have to start from that background to look into the future. Who are we looking for? First of all, I'll tell you who we are not looking for.
Okay.
We don't want somebody that will pander to the godfathers or to those so-called leaders, my leaders,
Okay.
and clearly take our resources and use it to feed those people fat while the ordinary Edo citizen gets lean.
Okay.
We want somebody that will look at the whole state as his family and therefore use what is called capacity. That is, has he got that strength of character to lead the state? Can he say no to something that is wrong because he knows it is wrong, even if it will feather his own nest? And he looks at this and says, no, I will not do this because it's not right for my people and it's against the rule of natural justice. It should be somebody that will not take the lands belonging to Edo State government and share it among his friends. It has to be somebody who, when starting a project, clearly has in view what benefit the generality of Edo State people will derive from such a project. It should be somebody that looks at the workers and says, yes, these are the golden geese that lays the golden egg. Therefore, I must treat them well so that they can deliver better service to Edo State.
So, sir, I know if we allow you, you want to continue on and on and on.
Timothy,
Yes.
1 minute quickly.
Yes, sir. For me, sir, I don't know if you can do justice to this in 30 seconds.
Yes.
While we journey to the Osadebe Avenues,
Yes.
comes 21st day in the month of September 2024, should capacity, that you have mentioned severally, ability, competence, contact, content, be thrown to the wind, sir, in your own opinion?
No, you cannot, because you need that competence, you need that capacity, you need integrity. Integrity and lack of it can make a difference. That's why one governor from North Central is hiding right now. Because if you look at the current government in Edo State, of all those accusing Obaseki of everything they are accusing him of, have you heard somebody say he's corrupt? Nobody has said that. And if they knew he was, they will say it very loud. And that is the kind of trajectory we want to continue. We want a governor that will be there, that will not catch his hand in the apple pie, trying to steal and put in his pockets. We want a governor that has managed huge businesses that goes into billions before, and he was never found wanting. We don't want somebody that will see 2 billion naira and then he begins to palpitate and begins to think, we see money. That's not what we are looking for. We want somebody who has seen it all before, and never stole.
I never stole. All right, I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Isikweme.
And Chris, if you can spare me 1 second, we also want to look at the first ladies. The spouses of those coming governors.
Okay.
If you look at Aswe Iwodaro's spouse, is a manager of men and businesses herself. She runs a furniture company that is very profitable. Her interior decoration business today in Lagos is one of the best. Is the go-to.
Yeah, that we'll find out.
So
we'll find out that.
And then of course, very beautiful.
All right, thank you so much,
Thanks so
Mr.
much.
Asikweme, for coming in short notice. Thank you so much. Maybe when we need you again for proper analysis, we'll be beckoning on you to be here with us. Timothy, any word from you?
Yes, sir. Well, let's just keep our finger crossed and let's continue to look out for those individuals who believe they can journey us properly in the Dennis Osadebe comes on November 12, 2024.
Yeah. All right, my name is Chris, and I'm welcome Timothy. And of course, thank you so much, Mr. Asikweme. Let's do this again on Monday. On Monday, we'll be here again 4 p.m. Keep our fingers crossed, and of course, we won't let the cat out of the bag. Got big things waiting for you. Thank you. The state news is at 5 p.m. Please do stay tuned. Thank you very much, sir.
Pardon, sir.
Oh, yeah,
I is engineer Victor Oban.